Welcome to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Hey everybody, it's LaDonna Marie, internationally multi-award-winning author, speaker, and personal development life coach of LaDonna Marie Books, where my mission is to discover the champion in you through healing and changing the narrative in your life, one book at a time. You can shop and find out more information at www.ladonnamarie.org and check out the shop page. Welcome everyone to Planting Positive Seeds. This is Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, your host on tonight. And I'm so excited that you have joined us here Mondays at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, to hear all of our amazing guests that we have on. First, I just want to thank each and every person who comes to the podcast every week. I see the numbers. I see you all across the world. And I just thank you for listening to my guests and sharing the podcast with your friends and with your family. And so once again, thank you all for listening to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie and my co-host, Jade. And so tonight we have an amazing person on here for you to listen to her story, to allow her to share her experiences with each and every one of you all. And so I can't wait to welcome in Miss Verlisa to the show. How are you on tonight?
I'm wonderful. How are you, LaDonna?
I am doing well. You know, I'm so excited to have you here. We've been going back and forth and talking, and I'm just so ready for the listeners of Inspirational Talks to hear all about you and all about your story. And so I just want to get in and I want you to just share a little bit about yourself and your ministry with our listening audience.
Okay. Well, I am Verlisa Wearing and living in Atlanta. I am an ordained minister, been in ministry for over 20 years. I am also the CEO and founder of the RiseHer Network, which is a multimedia platform that offers visibility to those seeking to increase their brand, increase, of course, their visibility, that want to have the opportunity to share their gifts with the world. My ministry, it is basically where God has me. He has taken me out of the traditional church edifice itself. I am still a part of the church edifice, which is the building, right? And he is now transitioning me into the marketplace.
Yes.
And so I am reminded of the scripture that tells us that the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the just. And, I spoke with my bishop and I said, well, Daddy, how can the righteous, how can the just, how can we receive the actual wealth if we don't go into the marketplace?
Yes.
And so God has really positioned me. He has opened doors, and I don't even like to say doors anymore because doors lead you to a room, and a room has 4 walls. And so you're boxed in. So I say that God has led me to gates, to regions.
Hallelujah.
Because just as Jabez said, enlarge my territory, he is doing that. So it started out with me working for hotels. I was the executive manager for over 16 years. Mm-hmm. And I started my own publishing company called It Is Written Publishing.
Awesome.
And I did that for about a year. And I had always said that, okay, you know what? I've made millions for other people for so many years. Now it's time for me to take care of my baby, because unfortunately my business was the side chick.
Okay.
And you know, the side chick, she don't get the time that she wants.
Exactly.
And everything that's attached to the side chick, if it's important, guess what? When you get to the side chick, it's a rush job, right? And so January 2000 of this year, I stepped out on faith and I walked away from a job that I knew a check was coming every 2 weeks.
Wow.
I knew that I would get my my promotion, my raise every year. I knew, I can do hotels with my eyes closed. And I entered into publishing full time this year, January. And God dropped the RiseHer Network in my lap on top of that. And he brought that to me in a dream. And I told my pastor, I said, I felt like Noah, because he gave me he broke it all the way down for the RiseHer Network. It was nothing left unturned. It was nothing that I had to wonder. He even told me the next morning where to go to contact the people who would help me start the network. But vividly, I heard, and I keep hearing, and I keep it resonated in my mind, what he said to me. He vividly said to me that I have creative people. But you will not stretch my people.
Right.
My people cannot show their creativity because they can't afford to share their creativity. So you will not stretch my people. You will give everyone the opportunity to share their voice. And so with the RiseHer Network, I make sure that I've created platforms for people to be able to share their stories, to share their voices, whether that is in being on a platform for a conference, whether that's virtual or live, whether that is on billboards, if it is to have your own TV show on the network. I create those platforms, and I create it with an affordable rate where when people hear it, there's no reason for them to say, you know what, I can't afford that. It's just when we ask God for something and the opportunity presents itself, we think it's too good to be true. Yeah, that's what he has me on right now. Making sure that I give people the opportunity to share their stories, because there are too many people that are still stuck in glass ceilings. Yeah. And it's time for those ceilings to be shattered. It's too many people that are still sitting and their voices are muted. It's time for them to forgive. It's time for them to move forward. And it's time for them to let their voices be heard. So simply, that is what I do.
Wow. Let me tell you something. God is faithful and God is good. And I'm so thankful that you are here sharing this, because I know there's so many people out there who are stuck and don't know where to start. They're stuck and even just sitting still enough to hear the voice of the Lord, and so that he can, lay out the plan that he has for their life. And so by you sharing your story, with everyone about the RiseHer Network, even being in ministry for 20 years and going out into the marketplace, because this is just amazing. We have to go out into those uncharted territories so that they can hear the gospel, so that they can also see us as living epistles read of men daily, out what thus said the Lord in just who we are for him. Not that we have to say, but who we are in him. Shine bright and let your light shine. And so that's amazing, just hearing how, God is very meticulous when it comes to the reason why he created us. And so you had to, he had to pull you away so that you could pick back up what he had put on the inside of you, so that it could be birthed. So that other people, like you said, they could come in and birth their gifts, birth what they have on the inside of them. So kudos to you for stepping out on faith, doing, the blueprint, what God has said for your life, with you sharing your network and allowing other people to be able to share their stories and tell about so many things that have, happened in their life, so that they can move forward, because there are a lot of people that are stuck. Some people don't know, what's the next thing to get to where they are. And so I'm so glad that you're here to share with everybody, saying like what you do. I was just smiling from ear to ear the whole time you were talking, because we do have to take what we do out into the marketplace. That's one of the ways that I know the Lord had worked with me so many times. It wasn't that I don't like being in a building, but for me, the ministry was always out there for those people who couldn't make it to the building, who were out there in the highways and byways, at the book festivals or at the stores that you were at, that you were sharing your business so that they could see it in another way. I thank you for sharing that. And then also you're making it affordable for people to be able to live their dreams, because it's very oftentimes many people do say, well, you know what? It sounds like a great opportunity, but I just can't, I can't afford it at this time. And so I thank God that He has allowed you to step into your purpose and then also create avenues for other people. So thank you so much just for sharing, about your ministry. I want to lead into the question of just asking you, what inspired you to do what you do and to get started?
Well, I've always been known to be an exalter. I've always been told that I was the encourager out of everyone. Yeah. I myself have gone through a lot of things. A lot was self-inflicted, but God graced me to be able to go through it. And, even when we make bad choices, God is always going to use it for our good.
Yes, He will.
Once we learn the lesson from it, we're able to move and flow into what may have happened that was bad, it was terrible. When we learn our lesson from it, we're able to then to step out of the shame and the guilt, so that we be able to share with other people. Now, the first thing we have to remember, everybody can't handle our story.
Exactly.
And so it's not for you to go running around telling your story, because He didn't tell you to tell your story. What He told you to do is go and let His light shine within you. And so I've always come off as the mama. No matter what job I had, no matter where I am, I always end up being the mama. And so I am her. My organization is called RiseHer. Well, who is her? I am her. You are her. Every female is her. And RISE actually is the acronym. It means to restore, inspire, stand with, and empower her. There were people that spoke into my life, but overall, God restored me. There were many that inspired me, but most importantly, God inspired me to do what I do. There were many that have stood with me, but there were many that walked away, and there were many that God say, you got to go on this journey by yourself. And there are many that empowered me, but then I had to learn how to empower myself and cheer myself on. Yeah. And there are so many women, and not only women, I deal with men also. There are a lot of men, there are a lot of women that need to be restored back to their creative state, back to their greatest first version of themselves. This journey that we call life, it is just that, it's a journey. Yeah. And on this journey, we have a lot of bumps and bruises. We have a lot of scars. We have a lot of wounds. We have a lot of hurts. We have a lot of pains. And it causes us not to see ourselves the way that God says we are to see ourselves. And many of us, we never saw ourselves the way God said that we are to see ourselves, from even being a little girl or a little boy, because of the things that we were told, the things that were said to us, the things that we saw. So for those of us who have been in the dungeon, those of us who have been in the grind, those of us have been in the graves, those of us who have been written off and ridiculed and talked about and said you'll never be nothing, and God has turned that thing around for us to rise up out of the demise that others have set us up for, and we ourselves have set us up for. It is our responsibility to go and restore someone else. It is our responsibility to go and inspire someone else. It's our responsibility to go and stand with you. You may need to be restored and inspired. You may have dreams and aspirations, but you don't know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So somebody needs to stand with you and walk you through it and say, hey, babe, hey, I need you to get it together. Come back. Now, what is it that you're trying to do? What is your why of you doing this? And what's the why behind that why if that why doesn't work out? Come on, let's get this plan together. Let's write this vision out. Let's take the steps that need to be done. And you know what? I'm here. I'm rooting you on, but I'm going to teach you how to cheer yourself on. So that is how I started into doing this, because I was her. I had people to see something in me that I didn't see in myself. So that would be so selfish of me not to do that to anybody else.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness. Just speaking to you, it's just like our stories are similar, because when you talked about, the lessons that you learned, a lot of the things in my life that I went through, the Lord had me writing, but most of my books were called lessons. Like I have two one is called Lessons, Mirror Conversations, and the other one is called Lessons, Shattered Pieces Being Restored. And he had me to start to speak from the perspective of where I arise to, like where I had, I learned those lessons, because it was time for me to go back and strengthen my brother and, my sister. So I just love when you say that. And even when you talked about being restored back to your original self, I say that so many times, because the Lord had me maybe 2018. He was talking about, default settings, and he was talking about taking off those grave clothes. But when we restore, we're restoring, like you said, back to who he created us to be, before our environment, put stuff on us, before our inner me put stuff in us. The enemy tried to take away who we were created to be. And so I love that through your journey, you've been able to stand in who God has created you to be, and now you're able to help others to rise. Like you said, I was looking for a poem. I wrote a poem called I Am She. Mm-hmm. And it spoke about, saying the things that I had gone through, the things that I had learned, the things that I overcame, because I kept my eyes focused on who God had created me to be. Yes, it was hard, but I persevered, because many times I know, even with myself recently in the last couple of weeks, I feel like I'm on the break of something that, something great that God is about to deliver. But the enemy keeps trying to remind me of where I've been. And I have to keep putting him in his place and say, well, I don't live there no more. That happened. Yes, it did. But I'm not there anymore. I lived. I'm here at another point. This is another day, another journey, another blessing. And so I'm so grateful that the way you just expounded on that, because we have to disconnect. In our lives, there are going to be some disconnections that have to happen, whether it's God ordained, him just leading you, leading you on to another level. And there have to be the necessary disconnections. I know in my lifetime, some I had to disconnect, because the Lord had said that this is what you have to do. And so it's just a journey that we've all been on. So I thank you for just sharing that, because many people have to understand that where they are, they won't be always. Yeah. And it sometimes look like it is in that moment, but there is another day. There is grace and mercy. You will rise out. And like you said, being able to learn how to empower yourself, learn how to encourage yourself, learning how to do those things for you when there is no one else to do that, when there's no one else to pat you on the back or say, do a good job. But I thank you for going and holding others' hand and holding them accountable and teaching them how to encourage themselves and how to move forward, and teaching them and showing them how God has shown you. So it's such a beautiful story just to hear you, expound on it. I'm so excited, because this is some of the things that, when I'm talking to other people, even on the journey of, my tagline is to discover the champion in you. And I had to heal and I had to discover who God had created me to be, even before I could do that for anyone else.
Yes.
And so out of the places that I walked through, and also, a lot of the things that got revealed to me that was happening. And so, it's always a great time that, like you said, we can use those stories to help other people learn how to be restored to who God created them to be. And so that's such a beautiful way of just sharing that with others. I want you to share with others, because like you said, God is the giver of all of our gifts, our talents, and our abilities. And I want you to share with our listeners some of the highlights and the achievements throughout your life that you just want to share.
Wow. Well, I was fortunate in 2009. Yeah, I'm gonna take it all the way back to 2009. I moved into an area of Atlanta, Avondale Estates, and my son went to the high school, and I happened to be walking down the hallway, and the principal, she saw me, and she said, "You're part of the PTA, right?" "No, ma'am. I just came to ask some questions because my son is transferring to your school." She said, "Oh, no, you're part of the PTA." So, I guess that was her way of nudging me into the PTA. So it went from me joining the PTA to becoming the PTA president, to her coming to me and asking me, "What is it that you want to do here?" And I told her, I said, "I want to make an impact with your girls." And she said, "What do you want to do with the girls?" I said, "I want to do a debutante." And she said, "Okay." She said, "Give me until after homecoming." She said, "Because I want homecoming to be good." And then she said, "I'll allow you to do whatever you need to do."
Yeah.
And of course, when people hear debutantes, that is invitation only. That is generally the private sector that hosts it. I'm from Louisiana, so we do cotillions and debutantes all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, "No, I don't want your straight A's or your straight B's. That's not who I want. I want your girls that have some troubles. I want your girls that the teacher's like, I don't know why y'all keep letting her come to the school." And so I ended up getting a mixture of girls. So I got the girls who were getting the straight A's, but I got the girls that was failing. I got all the girls. And we started out with 60 girls. And we dwindled down to 40. But I had teachers, I had different instructors coming in. My bishop, my pastor, Bishop C.L. Carter, he came in and he did the first class for me. And it was Daddy's Little Girl. He was speaking into the lives of the girls that may not have had a relationship with their daddies. And he was even speaking into the lives of their mothers.
Yeah.
And that debutante, we had our classes. I met with those girls 2 times a week. That's how I ended up getting on Facebook, because I wanted to see what they were doing, so they could see that I was on there watching them. I became very close with their families. It was unfortunate, but it was good that we were able to get some girls out of some sexual abuse that was going on in their homes that their parents didn't even know was going on. Where the police, we had to get the police involved, and while the kids were in school, they went over to another school to arrest the brothers and the cousins and things like that. So we were able to deliver girls out of those situations. But we were the first public debutante cotillion for what they call DeKalb County here in Atlanta. And so that was a major accomplishment for me, because that is when, you always hear the world, politics, you keep the school, you keep the church, you keep politics, you keep everything away. Yeah. But at this time, the school and church came together. Crazy. Because every instructor that I brought in were all ordained preachers.
Amen.
And so those babies were able to hear, and their parents were able to hear those who were coming from a good place. And then I was able to take them to church with me so that they can enjoy the actual gathering of everyone together. And I am still in touch with about 20 of those girls now. And they're good in their 30s now. Another major accomplishment, becoming general manager of the year for my hotel. Did not know, out of all of Hampton Inns, when I was a GM for the Hamptons, did not know I was selected because of the rapport that I had with the staff, the rapport that I had with construction workers and things like that I treated everyone like family. As I told you earlier, I always seem to be the mama out the bunch.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, that was a major accomplishment. I have been nominated for major awards and things like that, but the ones that stick out with me are where I have been personally connected with people. That makes the difference to me, because what I tell people all the time, you can measure your success on how much money you make and the things that you obtain, but I measure my success on how impactful I am with people. And if I teach you how to do something, I'm successful when you're able to do what I taught you, plus do what I do, so that way you can move me out the way and take over what I'm doing.
Yeah. Wow. Like, that's so powerful. And thank you for sharing it, because just making that impact on those girls' lives, because, like you said, you stepped in, you brought church and state together, and it gave them what they were missing and what they needed in having that foundation of God and all of the ministers that spoke into their lives, and just your heart wanting to, see them to thrive, and I love it, because I wrote down in the family atmosphere, like many people thrive when you're loving and you're caring and you're nurturing, because like you said, you have that mother spirit to just impact their lives, and that's amazing, because you planted seeds in them. And then they go out and plant seeds in other people, because they learn, like you said, they learn what you taught them. They're able to go and duplicate it and do it on their own and be successful. And that's how I feel. I feel my most success is when I'm making an impact. When people can have their own aha moment, when they can come to another perspective on life, or whatever they may be reading or they may be teaching. But I just thank you for saying that contribution. I know, like you said, you're still connected with them, and those are like partnerships and relationships that last, and it'll always be something that you taught them in their mind that they can help to share with other people. And just the people that you had to come in and walk alongside you to pour into them, I know that made a lasting impact on their lives. So that was just amazing. And congratulations on all of, the achievements that you've gotten thus far. But I always love, because whatever's in your heart to do, that the Lord has you to do, it is going to, speak volumes, because it's because He loved us, and love others. We go out and we share that love, we share that encouragement. And just to hear that so many girls were set free, and they were able to live their lives, and they were able to come out of things, that would have hindered them for the rest of their lives. That's major. That's a major impact. And so thank you for your service. Thank you for your willingness to just do and give and help and just to be all that God created you to be. It's just amazing. I want you to share with our listening audience a time when you had to overcome obstacles. Here on Planting Positive Seeds, my motto is planting positive seeds in the lives of others daily. And so there's someone out there that's listening. I want you to share with them a moment in time in your life when you had to overcome an obstacle, and how the mindset and what it took for you to continue to move forward.
So this was a couple years ago. Before I left out of the hotel industry, I went to a new property. And, I haven't been always the Shirley Temple little girl. I've done some stuff. I've gotten myself in some trouble, made some wrong decisions, trying to run with other people,
Yeah.
not realizing that there was a light in me. So the light was going to always shine. Even when I was in the darkness, it was going to shine even more. So I was the one that always got caught. So I went to this property, and unfortunately, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. I was known in the hotel industry as being the Terminator.
Okay.
So they knew if I came to their property, it was some issues going on, and Miss V, as they called me. Okay, Miss V, come to your property. Ooh, some people finna lose their job because Miss V finna turn this hotel all the way upside down. So some people heard I was coming to the property. Some other managers heard I was coming to the property, and they could not get a good read on me. Because, I come in, I do what I need to do. I'm going to be friendly, but I'm not going to, don't come to me with gossip, talking about other managers. Don't do that. I'll hear you and I will walk away.
Right.
And so one person decided, okay, we're getting ready to go and look Miss V up. We're going to find some dirt on Miss V. And so they did. And so I remember my boss, he came to me and he said, come on, let's walk. Because I would always get to work early in the morning. He said, let's walk. And he said, I got your back. And so I'm like, him starting the conversation off like that, I'm like, okay, what's going on? He said, once I find out who did it, I'm going to deal with them. You don't have nothing to worry about. But I got you. God got you. And so he began to share with me what was done and what was placed in his box. Someone had pulled up when I had got in trouble back in the 90s. And they basically wanted to tarnish my name. They basically wanted to tarnish my character. They basically wanted to destroy everything that I had created for myself within my career for over 16 years. And of course, I shed tears because I was like, that was so long ago. Why would somebody do that? And he kept saying, are you okay? Are you okay? I said, I'm fine. But of course, on the inside of me, I was not fine. But guess what? I remembered who I was. Amen. And by the time we made it back around to that hotel, I think I had recited, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And every tongue that rise up against me in judgment, I've already condemned. I probably had recited that to myself about 20 times.
Amen.
And I reminded myself, these people will not change who I am. I'm going to change who they are. And I went back into that hotel, and I went back into my office, and I looked in the faces of the ones that the Spirit had already showed me who it was. That did. And I said, good morning, how are you? I'm fine, Miss V, how you doing? Da, 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 da. And I went into my office. People who did not know what was going on, because I never opened my mouth. I didn't say anything. I let God deal with that.
Amen. And
the more and more I tried to pull away, because of course that's hurtful. Now you want to treat everybody with a long handled spoon. You don't want to get too close. You don't want them to get too close. You want to speak and you just want to keep it going. If it's not dealing with business, you don't want to be around them. Well, baby, I think within that whole week, more employees and more folks came to me with issues and concerns, personal issues and concerns. And I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because do you not see the sorrow on my face? Do you not see that I'm dragging myself in here every single day? But what I came to realize, it was in that time that I was going through, that the devil really put an attack out on me, was actually a test to see, would I shut down and say, woe is me, or would I still do what God had called me there to do? Because it wasn't for me to just go to that hotel and go and change stuff. It was some people that actually needed some healing themselves. And if I would have shut down if I would not have forgiven quickly,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been the one that needed healing just like they did. And so I had to pull myself up out of that grave.
Yeah.
I had to do what? I had to rise.
That's right.
I had to pull it together, and I had to again remind myself, Verlisa, that's something that you did that a long time ago. That's not who you are. Are you gonna let what somebody think they know about you because they see this on paper? They don't know nothing about you.
Right.
Let that stop you. So that's something that I had to overcome. I had to overcome that portion of being shameful of my past.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a history.
We
Some
do.
people just didn't get caught. Some of us did get caught. And because we did get caught, we had the opportunity to learn the lesson so that we don't do it again. And that way we can tell other people, baby, you don't want to do that.
Right.
So regardless if somebody knows your past and they continue to try to throw it up in your face, you remind yourself of who you are and whose you are. You're not that person. Yes, you made a wrong decision. Yes, you did something wrong. Right. Guess what? Forgive yourself, move on. Because greater is he that's in you than he is in the world. And there are greater things in store for you. You just got to move from the old and get to the new. Do not allow anybody to drag you backwards. And don't drag yourself backwards. Right. So I had to literally overcome that obstacle with seeing these same people in my face every day. But guess what? Because I know vengeance is the Lord.
Amen.
And when I get out the way, he gonna heap coals of fire on people's head. Now, of course, we don't want bad things to happen to anyone. Right. But everybody that was caught up in that to try to sabotage me, they start falling off the job months and weeks, back to back to back. God removed every last one of them. Wow. And it wasn't as though I nor my manager were targeting them. Right. They got themselves involved in stuff that we could not even get them out of, and we tried to. Right. So when you are living your life for God, and you are now lining up your life to do what God has called you to do, or I'm not going to even say you lining up your life to do what God has called you to do. You lining up your life to do something right. Right. Say, I'm not going down the crooked path no more. Fall back. Yeah. You don't have to have revenge on nobody. Right. God will take care of everybody that comes up against you. You got to believe that. You have to.
Oh, you said a mouthful. I'm so excited because that's one of the things that I always do is I always have a Bible verse that backs up something, because that will help me to get through those moments. And like you said, God is not mocked. And so whatever we reap, we sow. And so we don't look for people, but his Bible says that vengeance is mine. So that's the reason why I would always say, I'm not going to try to get anybody. I'm just going to let my daddy get him, let Abba get him. Because, I want to continue to be who he's created me to be. And so thank you for sharing that story, because a lot of people, would have, went in there and just started, getting pulled in and sucked in. But thank you for standing firm on who God has planted you as a woman of God. It just doing the right thing, letting the word work for you. I mean, quoting those scriptures. I tell you, I do that all the time. Even some of the hardest times in my life, I did always. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I know it's not in my might. I know it's not in my power. I always say, I know I can do all things through Christ. And that no weapons, like you said, that no weapons for me was a lifesaver, because, no weapons formed. Even though they form, they're not going to prosper. You can try to form them, but they're not going to prosper. And so thank you for sharing that with our guests. I know that a lot of them will apply it to their lives when they get into different situations of how to handle, stressful moments, and how to stay rooted in, finding the positive in ways, and be, just continue to let God handle it. and being upright and being who you are. And so I do thank you for sharing that, because I have to, do that in my day-to-day life. I have to continue to do that. I have Bible verses everywhere, positive mindset. I was just telling someone the other day, I'm optimistic. I always want to see the best in even the worst situation. I'm looking for what are some of the things that I can pull out that will help me to stay focused on the things that truly matter. And so, by you doing that and allowing God to handle it, you surely showed how rooted and grounded that you are. I want to ask you, because we've talked so much about, the things that you've done and in your ministry, but I want to know, what do you do outside of your business, your ministry, just for fun? How do you have fun?
Girl, let's see. I don't do much now.
Okay.
My fun consists of being at home, binge watching movies. That is my fun. Because when I was young, baby, when I was young, I had my fun.
Right.
And when I was for real sinner, because we all still do our little stuff, baby. I was the chief of the chief of the chief of the chief. Come on. So now, when I'm not doing anything, I can get on a sofa. And I try to come out of my bedroom, but every now and then I'll be in my bedroom and I'll watch movie after movie after movie after movie. Yeah. I go from Netflix to Tubi, from Tubi to now I've been doing the BET Plus.
Okay.
Then I'll jump to LMN, long as it's not a rerun, because I think I've seen the majority, 95% of those movies like 3-4 times. So yeah, I like to binge watch movies. Just get somewhere, have my bathrobe on, because I like to stay cozy, and binge watch movies. That's what I love to do. And of course, all women, we like to shop, but I don't have the patience to be in stores for a long period of time. I like to go in and come on out. So yeah, my best thing is put me somewhere with a TV.
Yeah.
To binge watch. Yes, ma'am.
Listen, that I know that's the best. I was just saying that to someone. They were like, "Well, what are you doing? What does your fun consist of?" And I was like, watching movies, like watching things like it. That's my fun. I mean, I to go, from Prime to Netflix, going back and forth, and just watching something. Because for me, even though like as a writer, and then having multiple tasks, and then I am a mother of 2 energetic young men, and so my peace and my joy is to just watch me a good show that I love, and like I said, show to show, and so that's still the joy that we have, and I love it. So I mean, I don't ask these questions because people say like we going to Niagara Falls, but it's just whatever your peace of mind is. And so I'm right there with you, because I can't wait to just kick back and just have a little peace and quiet and be watching my shows uninterrupted, and focus on just watching and finishing that, because like I said, I have to sometimes just do that to take my mind off of what's on the to-do list, what's coming next, do I have to write anything, what's next. So thank you for sharing it. I love to hear what others are doing. We're gonna wrap it up. I just enjoy this time that I've had speaking with you, but I want you to share with our listening audience, you have any upcoming projects. I want you to share where they can find you, where they can find more about your RiseHer Network, and get connected with you. Please share that with our listening audience.
Okay, so I do have an upcoming event. It is the I Am Woman Summit 2022. It is occurring September the 28th through October the 1st. The first 2 days, September the 28th and September the 29th, are going to be virtual panels and workshops. Okay. September the 30th will be live here in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Hilton Peachtree City Atlanta Hotel and Conference Center. And we're going to culminate everything on October the 1st with our first awards gala, just celebrating women, the essence of women. And they could get more, they can register. Registration is free. Okay. I'll say that again. Registration is free. And they can register at IamWomanSummit.com. And those who are in Atlanta, I would love for them to come to the actual live presentation. The whole summit, I have over 37 speakers. Wow. Coming from, I have even some coming from Canada, Japan, and from the United Kingdom. Our headliner for this summit is Dr. Kareem Ellis. And if anybody has heard of Dr. Kareem Ellis, he is the bum diggity of the bum diggity of motivation. He takes the simple things like a chess game and checkers, and he creates life stories for us to be able to apply to our very own lives. So I am super excited about this I Am Woman Summit. This is our inaugural summit. And very excited about that. So they can register, get more information about it at IamWomanSummit.com. They can connect with me at VerlisaWearing.com. And they can find out more about the RiseHer Network at RiseHer And they can simply email me at verlisa.wearing, like you're wearing your clothes, at the RiseHerNetwork.com also. And then, of course, my social media pages, Verlisa Wearing Facebook, Verlisa Wearing Instagram. I am Verlisa on Twitter. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your inaugural gala. It sounds like an amazing, and I have heard of Kareem Ellis. I've heard of him. I think I met him on Clubhouse. My first actual year on Clubhouse, I was in some of the rooms where he was speaking, and he's a dynamic speaker and motivator. And so I know that every person that's going to be there, and even the other guests and speakers that you have, they're going to gain so many nuggets for their lives. And so congratulations again. This is the end of the program. If you have any final thoughts that you just want to share with the listeners as we begin to leave, do you have any final thoughts?
Live a life that outlives you. That is my motto. And I tell people that all the time. I want you to start being intentional with everything that you do. I want you to be impactful with everyone you meet. Why do I say that? Because 100 years from now, 20 years from now, 30, 40, but 100 years from now, whatever you did here on earth, you want to be remembered for. Still to this day, we're in 2022, we're reading things from William Shakespeare.
Yes.
We're still living off of the I Have a Dream from Martin Luther King.
Right.
So whenever you come in and encounter anyone, be intentional. If you see that person needs a smile, smile.
Yes.
If you see that person needs a hug, hug them. If you recognize something in that person and you feel in your spirit that you need to tell them, baby, it's going to be okay, do that.
Yeah.
Start where you are, make your mark. You don't have to, it doesn't take a degree to be intentional. It doesn't take a degree to be impactful. It doesn't take $1 million to be impactful to anyone's life. But begin today taking the steps to live a life that outlives you. Make a difference. You matter, your voice matters, your story matters. It's time for you to share.
Awesome. Such amazing and astounding words. Be intentional, be impactful, and living a life that matters. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you on Inspirational Talks. Thank you for sharing your life and your story and your ministry. Once again, congratulations on everything. And we thank you. If you ever want to come back to Inspirational Talks to talk about, any upcoming projects, please do. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So everyone, we thank you all for joining us on tonight. Please be sure to come back every Monday at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. Peace and blessings, everyone.
I have gained so many valuable lessons from my experiences. In writing Things I Wish I Knew, Letters to My Little Sisters is a collection of heartfelt conversations with young girls and young adults all over the world, helping them to be prepared for things ahead.
This has been another purpose-packed episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Please remember to like, share, and tell your friends about the podcast. Stay tuned for many more Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie.